Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a hearing video. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I apologize for that. I just never want to bore you guys with producing like the same content all the time with the same advice. So if you have anything specific you want to see from me hearing loss related, please leave that down below. But I did a lot of solo traveling this summer and I've never really had experiences where I've been like completely solo traveling like as much as I did this summer. I took plane rides by myself and I've done that so many times before, but I have never taken a plane ride like cross world basically by myself ever. So I went to England by myself this summer and that was honestly a wild experience that taught me a lot with how to handle myself and how to conduct myself in certain situations where I like really have no idea what's going on because I can't hear anything. So I thought I would share my experience. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and let's get started. So I booked my flight with Delta, and Delta has an option where you can alert them that you are hearing impaired and they say that they will help you. I don't know the specific services that they promise, but I clicked the button because I was like, sure, like I'm traveling all by myself, like I will let someone know. So I clicked the button and everything was good to go, but nothing happened. And I've heard other people complaining about this with Delta before, so I don't know if it's like a thing where you let the airline know and they just don't do anything, which I'm guessing is kind of the case, because I did have a really hard time hearing announcements and when to board and stuff like that. Luckily, I was able to ask people that were standing up around me like what the heck is going on, so I was able to like board at the right time, but that was really hard. And also on the plane ride, when they were giving like drinks or whatnot, it was like super hard to hear, and I got the sense that like nobody knew that I was hearing impaired. So that's something to keep in mind. If any of you have used that function with Delta before, let me know. Let me know how it worked, because I just feel like nothing happened. So there's that. I always have trouble with boarding because I know that there is a specific order that they board in, but I can never hear it, so I have to be like super vigilant. One thing that you can do that I know a lot of my friends do who also encounter this problem is they go to the desk and let the flight attendant know that they are hard of hearing, and then they either will be able to pre-board or they will just stand by the desk and the attendant will just let you know when to go, which they are usually really helpful with that. I haven't done that before because I will just ask a random person standing up in line. I think it's a fun way to like talk to people. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, okay? But that's something that I totally recommend, is going and talking to the attendant, because they really will be helpful. Also, I can never hear what the flight attendants are saying to me on planes at all. So that's why on shorter flights, I always pretend to be asleep, which is not good. I shouldn't be doing that. I just want to avoid all connection and contact. But on a longer flight, I obviously like couldn't do that, and I wanted water, okay? But it was so hard for me to hear what they were saying. It was so hard because there's so much noise on a plane and they're talking like this, and it's really hard for me to hear them. So I did bring a little notepad and have them write out what they were saying, which I've never done before, but I did this now that I was alone, and that worked really, really well. I just explained to them, hi, I wear hearing aids, I can't hear you, can you please write down? And they were so nice about it. So I've never done that before. Highly recommend that. It was great. The plane ride and traveling alone is definitely the hardest with hearing, because usually I'll just like ask my mom or my sister like what is going on and they'll tell me. But traveling alone, you definitely have to be more on top of things. You don't want to miss things, and it's a lot bigger of a deal, I feel like, if you miss a flight or something when you're by yourself, because it's just a lot scarier. So I really had to make sure that I was on top of things, not relying on my hearing. And you never realize, I never realized until I was traveling alone, how many things like revolve around hearing. You go through security, they're talking to you. You go through customs, that was a big one. You talk to the customs agent and you want to be let into the country, and like what happens if you can't hear what they're saying. Like it's just so many things where I'm like, oh my god, like this is so anxiety producing. But the number one thing that I did that really helped a lot was just let people know up front, hey, I wear hearing aids, hey, I'm hearing impaired, can you please talk louder, talk deeper? If I can't hear you, can you please write down what you're saying? And it sounds really scary, and it is scary to do at first, but you have to stand up for yourself, because especially when you're alone, nobody is going to do that for you. So I feel like I know myself so much more. I can stand up for myself better now, and that's something that I never felt 100% confident in before I went across the world by myself, and especially with different accents, it's just so much harder. But you have phones, you have a paper and a pen, have people write stuff. It really does help a lot. I imagine going to countries by yourself where there is a language barrier is even harder, because it's hard for people with normal hearing who don't understand the language, but there's Google Translate. I almost think that would be easier for people with a hearing loss, because there's almost a language barrier no matter what. So even if it is a foreign language, I feel like we would be able to handle that situation a lot better than our hearing friends. Let me know what you think about that. That is my hypothesis, that we would be able to handle it better because we would just know exactly what to do. And I think that the writing stuff down really does help a lot. One thing that I had to be extra vigilant about while I was actually in the city, I went to London, was traffic. Sometimes I don't like hear all the noise, or like can pinpoint the direction to where the noise is coming from. So you have to use your eyes. Like you just have to be super vigilant about it at all times. Even like now in my hometown, when I'm like taking a walk, I had to be super vigilant about the cars because I just can't hear them. So that's something to keep an eye out on. I find that sometimes when I'm in situations where I want to be social, I want to meet new people, sometimes I hold myself back because I'm like, what if I can't hear them? What if I can't understand them and the conversation just goes south? Well, you have to tell yourself that that's okay. Like, it's part of life, and you can always do all the techniques that I've been talking about and preaching on my channel, bringing people to a quieter section of the room or outside, you know, just knowing what works for you, but don't let it stop you from having these life experiences. I honestly had a really great time traveling alone and doing all these things alone, even though it was hard at times. Like, talking to people was really hard in conversation sometimes, because I just, especially if people were wearing a mask in like taxis or whatever, but you just have to be like, hey, I wear a cochlear, I wear hearing aids. You just have to be upfront about it. And I think that if you are going through a journey where you maybe don't feel comfortable being super upfront about it, now's the time to start. Now's the time to start pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, like prepping for a trip, just really starting to learn how to be comfortable with yourself, because it is the most important thing, to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. So I just wanted to make this video and talk about traveling solo. It honestly was really great. It was really frustrating at times, but I know so much about myself now, and I highly recommend you guys going on a solo trip if you can. That was it for today's video. I want to make more hearing videos. I'm thinking about making like actual vlogs of showing you guys like me doing things in certain situations, but let me know what you want to see and I'll make the video. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.